This is Youth's Corner. Today we are looking at youthful exuberance. What is youthful exuberance? You know, people normally think of the negative side of youthful exuberance, but the issue is that youthful exuberance has both positive side and negative side, and that is what we are trying to bring into discussion today. So please, sir, I would want you to help us to explain what youthful exuberance is all about.
Okay, thank you very much. You know, most times when we have this habit of looking at everything, virtually everything, from either good or bad, but the truth about life itself is that there's no actually good, absolute good and absolute bad. So just like when most people look at youthful exuberance as something that is negative and stuff like that, and with that they confront it in such a way that it brings about more problems, both in the family, in the society. You know, youthfulness, or let me say teenage, is a phase in life, is an age in life which everybody do pass through it. So, and this is let's say a stage in one's life when the person begins to come to a certain level of consciousness. The person comes to experience more energy, that burst of energy. And usually when you have much power, depending on the background you're coming from, the kind of exposure you've had before, it will determine to a large extent how you react to the available new energy to you. And also it's also a period that characterizes some changes which we see in different forms, biological changes, puberty, you know, suddenly a girl that is just a girl before, because of a bump on her chest, people start looking at her differently, and she starts getting extra attention and all that. And in most cases, different people will react differently. But what is important at this point is for people to understand that youthful exuberance is something, is a stage where young ones bustle with so much energy, and we shouldn't look at it as something that is negative, but we should look at them at that period as people that is experiencing something they don't really understand, because at that point it's as if their senses, their body, you know, their emotions is being hijacked by hormones. But the most people around should do is to like help them, even though that most times when you try to help them, because some of them don't really understand what's going on inside them, you might meet resistance and all that. But it is important we handle it, we try to communicate more with them, try to understand what they feel, and help them manage that situation, because in most cases it's not even easy for them. Sometimes they don't even know why they are doing what they are doing. They don't have a reason. Some of them will get influenced by friends, this time around get influenced by social medias, you know, so many influx of information. So but at that point, what parents, guardians, and people that are more mature than them should be concerned about is how to make them understand that this phase is a phase in life and it will come and go, but not to like try to confront it with much force and all that, because when you try to confront it with much force, it's just like when two brick meets, it will create friction. But trying to understand them, try to give them more sense of belonging helps a lot to manage it and channel it more towards the positive side instead of the destructive, because it's both ways. It can be destructive, it can be productive, depending on how you manage it. The amount of balance you are able to help them create within that phase in their life.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for the reply. So youthful exuberance, what can cause it? Of course, we know that it happens, but some people may not know why it happens, whether it is triggered by nature or by environment. So please, can you help us clear the doubt?
No, definitely is a natural stage in life. When a child is born, he or she starts growing up stage by stage. Everything looks so strange to the child. At the age of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the child is getting used to a lot of things. Some things that seem to be mysterious begins to make sense to the child. At the age of 12, 13, 14, 15,
Yes.
the child begins to make meaning. Initially, the child will be using the meanings made by other people. But at this point, at this stage in life, the child has let's say, gained a higher quantity of has refined his or her intellect to start making meaning. And in the process of trying to make that individual meaning, it can kind of create certain kind of friction. So actually it's natural, because it's something that has to do with age, let's say advancement in maturity. But how the person will react to it will definitely have to do with the person's environment, because a teen in the United States will not react in the same way as a teen in Nigeria, because of the environmental factors. So it is a natural growth stage, but then how one reacts to it will definitely depend on the person's environment, the person's level of exposure. Even within the within the Nigerian setting, a teenage in Lagos will not react the same way a teenage in Ebonyi State or Abakaliki will react, because of the environmental factors, the level of exposure, the family background too, the kind of family one is from, the way one will react if let me say the parents are from the elite class will be different if the parents are from the slum.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you once again. So, and another thing that I would want you to help us with is about gender in youthful exuberance. So, what gender reacts mostly to it? Is there equal reaction from both gender? Do they react equally, or is there any gender that reacts more than the other in youthful exuberance?
When you look at it, mostly depending on let's say the kind of society we have, mostly it looks like, because it's something that is let me say is youthful exuberance, or that teenage attitude, teenage reactions and actions is the same within that age bracket, but it's not really something that is gender, let's say, gender fixed. Each gender reacts differently, but most times it's as if the female own is more pronounced because in their cases they go through let me say some biological changes, and depending on the background of the society, most times they get more attention, and some of them kind of get so much admiration, which makes them react in different way, but both biologically and let's say it's not really gender based, but each gender reacts differently, but the female gender seem to be more pronounced because at that point, because of the body changes and some other factors that has to do with their biomechanism contributes to make it seem like it's gender based, but it's not really gender based.
Okay. Now, thank you. Then the last but not the least is a saying goes that too much of everything is bad. So this youthful exuberance, how can it be managed so that it will not be excessive?
Anyway, when it comes to management, especially in terms of managing humans, is something that a lot of factors are involved, but the only thing from observation I can say is, one, we should see youth as people in search of identity at that early youthful age, and we need to be patient with them. We need to be more communicative to them, because at that point most of them are in search of answers to so many things, including their own identity, including who they are, because all the years they are what their parents think and what their parents made them to be, but at that stage they are beginning to ask questions. Some of those questions they won't voice it out. Even sometimes they ask as much question as asking their parents, who the hell are you? That is how far it can get, because at that point they're trying to even find out who they are and who the people around them are. What they need at that point is to understand that it's a phase, and if their parents too went through that phase sometime. Now the elderly ones should look at them not as maybe looking at that stage, that their inquisitiveness, that their bustling of energy as something negative, but as something that can be managed and be channeled into a more productive activities. Get them involved more, because responsibility makes people responsible.
Yes.
The more you trust them, the more you communicate with them, the more you try to get them involved in so many activities. Give them responsibilities, both within the family. Let them handle things. The more they do that, the more their sense of responsibility will increase.
Yes.
Because sometimes at that stage, some parents will be so angry with them. Some of them will come to the extent that maybe they will run out of the house.
Yes.
Issues here and there. It's a point that parents, guidance should understand that these people, these young ones, they need direction at that point. they have so many questions in their head that they don't have answer to, and they are yearning to find answers to it. Sometimes they go to friends, they go to different people. Sometimes they might get the wrong answer, just like at that point, because of let me say the hormonal takeover. Some of them will be will be trying to understand what is actually going on in their body, the sexual urge that will take a new dimension. At that point, most of them, what they need is proper sex education. But most times, parents don't pay attention. The guidance don't pay attention. So, and these are things they want answers, and they might now get involved, or maybe find the answer from the wrong people, or from their own circle too, which may be very dangerous to them. So at that point is a time that the elderly ones, the guardians, the parents should get closer to them, try to make them understand, get them involved, give them more responsibility, trust them, believe in their creativity, and kind of guide them. Trust as in give them a kind of a certain level of trust. Make them have that sense of belonging. It will help a lot, because I believe the attitude the elderly ones do give to the youths at that stage do make them, some of them will shut down. They maybe definitely, because of the bustling of energy, there are bound to be a lot of mistakes at that point. But those mistakes should also be converted into a learning platform. So like a girl, because she's trying to experiment her newfound sexual urge, she might get pregnant, or maybe contact sexually transmitted diseases, or anything can happen. Then it is a mistake, but it shouldn't be used to destroy the rest of her life. It's something the society should understand, that at this point they are bound to make a lot of mistakes, but what they need more is support. What they need more is understanding. What they need more is responsibility. What they need more is communication, education. Not education per the classroom education, but education in terms of helping them to understand life itself. Let them have a bigger picture. I think it will go a long way to help.
Wow. That is so wonderful. Thank you so much. And here we have come to the end of this session.
And one more thing to add more to that, since we are talking about youth and the youth corner, people should understand that the stage, the age we are in now, especially in Nigeria, the youth is taking over.
Yes.
And people shouldn't stop them. Rather, people should step in, guide them, especially in the political space, because there's a serious political consciousness within the youth. And that is very important, because it's very pivotal to societal change.
Yes.
The change we yearn for in our society is key to it. So this time around, let's give the youths more opportunity. Let's try to understand them. Let's get close to them. Let's trust them. Let's see what they have. Let's enjoy the ride. Thank you very much.
That is so wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time and your responses.